Hello again, everybody. My name is Mark, and today we will talk about IELTS speaking. Alright, so I'm going to give you some tips to have a better score in IELTS speaking. Now let's start. Okay, so first one is be formal. Okay, be formal. It is an exam, so you need to be formal. Dress up nicely, and of course, be formal at all times. Alright, don't joke around. Okay, take this exam seriously. Okay, so be formal. Okay, neatly. Don't wear a hat, of course. Right? Okay, so sit straight. Okay, next is give a complete answer. Of course, you have 11 to 15 minutes to impress the examiner. Of course, you need to show off that you know English very well. Alright, so you need to show off in 11 to 15 minutes. So you need to give complete answers. Okay, for example, if the examiner will ask you, where do you live? And you'll answer, Hanoi. It's not really that complete, right? So you can answer, I am from Hanoi, the capital of Vietnam, right? So you gave a complete answer and you showed the examiner that you have a good command in the English language, all right? So always give complete answers, right? Next one, be polite. Okay, be polite. It is important so that, you know, it is to show the examiner that you, of course, number one, you are polite, and also you know the culture of Western culture. You know, they are polite. For example, if you didn't hear the question, you can answer, excuse me, can you repeat that please? Okay, always say please and thank you. Okay, so when the examiner will gives you the paper like that, you can say thank you. Okay, all right, so always remember please and thank you. It is good. It's always good to have a good feedback from your examiner. All right, next one, have a good posture. Okay, have a good posture. You need to sit down properly. Why? Because it helps you have a clear clear voice when speaking. Okay, having a good posture, it will have you be more relaxed, and you can speak clearly. Okay, so it is important. Don't splash around like, hey, it's not good, right? You need to sit down. It's like an interview. Okay, you need to treat this really seriously. Okay, next one, speak clearly. Of course, speak clearly. So your volume is very important. You need to speak clearly. A lot of my students in Vietnam, they actually are speaking too fast, that they forget to pronounce the words properly. All right. So remember, speak clearly. Sometimes you are thinking about an English word and you really want to say it really fast. Okay, so my advice is just calm down and try to speak every syllable. All right, correct pronunciation is the key. Okay, next is avoid common adjectives. Okay, avoid common adjectives. All right, so this is to show off your English level. Of course, try to use better adjectives or descriptive words. All right, so for example, avoid trying to use common words like bad, good, sad, right? So you can actually use better words that has the same meaning. Like for example, if it's happy, you can say thrilled, right? I am thrilled. Okay, sad, you can say depressed, right? Good, you can say fantastic. All right, so you can try to change the words. It will show the examiner that you know a lot of vocabularies, which is really a good point. Okay, next, keep a steady pace. Okay, I mentioned before that a lot of students try to speak English really fast, thinking that the faster you speak, the better you are, which is actually wrong. Okay, So you can try to keep your own pace. That means your speed when you talk. If you talk slowly, it is okay. If you talk fast, it is okay. The important thing is you need to pronounce the words properly. All right. So try to speak clearly and steadily. All right. So that is the important part: the pronunciation and the grammar. Okay. All right. So next, explain uncommon words. Okay, explaining uncommon words. For example, you need to explain some words that is not really common to the common people, right? For example, all right, so if the examiner will ask you, where do you come from? Okay, and then you answer, I come from Haizung. So the examiner will think, oh, what is that word? I don't know that word, right? So I think it's better if you say, I come from the city, I come from a city in Vietnam called Haizuong. Okay, so that means when before that you say, I come from a city in Vietnam. So the examiner will try to be prepared, like, okay, he's gonna say the name of the city, and then we say called Haizuong. So the examiner will think, ah, okay, Haizuong is a name of a city in Vietnam. So you don't need to explain, you don't need to confuse the examiner, like, oh, what is that word? So instead of the examiner will ask you again, oh, what is Haizoom? Like that. So it's better to explain beforehand, okay? So try to explain uncommon words or foreign words, okay? Next is stay on topic, okay? Yes, I know you have 11 to 15 minutes to show off your English, but always stay on topic, okay? It is very important to show the examiner that you really understood the questions, okay? Don't worry, because if the examiner needs to ask you more questions, he or she will ask you questions, follow-up questions. So you don't need to worry about explaining too much, okay? So just stay on topic, all right? But of course, stay on topic, but you need to give a complete answer. That is important, okay? All right, next is don't use slangs, okay? Don't use slangs. This is a formal exam, so slangs are very good for common conversation, okay? But this is an exam, so you need to treat it as an exam. Remember, be formal, okay? Be formal. So you need to speak formally as well. For example, usually a lot of students would say kids, right? So you should say children, okay? And for example, that expression say, ah, those stuff are good, okay? So you can say those things are fantastic, like that. So things, stuff, like that. So you need to try to be formal and choose your words carefully, all right? So try to practice that, okay? And next one, don't memorize, of course. Don't memorize your answer. That is a big no-no, okay? Because when you memorize your answer and because of the pressure of the exam, you will tend to forget your answers. If you forget that, you will be stuck in that part, okay? So don't memorize answers. It's always good to practice. My advice is just, for example, when you're practicing speaking, try to write down or remember only ideas, okay? Ideas. Like, for example, if you want to practice, where do you live? Okay, try to write down when you're practicing Haizung City, like that, example. And then when you remember that, you can actually say, I come from a city in Vietnam called Haizong City. But you only wrote the idea Haizong, okay? So only ideas. Try to just write down or list down ideas and try to practice speaking about that idea, okay? Never memorize, okay? So one more thing, in speak clearly, you need to practice the pronunciation of some words that is difficult to you, okay? For example, here in Vietnam, the S sound at the end, for example, 6, okay? So you need to practice those because I understand it's already a habit that you always omit the last S, like sick, like that instead of 6. So you need to practice that so that it will be a habit that you will speak the correct pronunciation. So practice your weakness. That is very important. So if your weak point is that sound, the S sound at the end, you need to practice more. Okay, so again, the key for speaking better is to practice. Always practice. Okay, speak clearly, and don't forget these tips. You can actually apply these tips when practicing so that you'll get used to it. Not only in the exam, but while you're practicing, you try to apply these ones, okay? So yes, that's it for today, and I'll be back for another tips about IELTS. So again, my name is Mark, and I'll see you in the next